I could say that my mom and dad, they never paid attention to me in the way that I felt I would deserve, so I declared war against the world.
Everything's shining. I can't say this is gonna happen for everybody that's clean.
Things that I didn't want to do, I had to do.
I can't believe we're here right now doing this. This is a big thing, man.
And so that's my biggest motivation right now, is just like seeing what I can do like while being sober.
Or if I got to do whatever I got to do, like my life's got to change like right now, you know?
My name is Anthony AUTRY. I'm from Los Angeles.
Do you have a clean date?
I do. October 5th, 2018.
October 5th, 2018.
Yep.
Can you tell me a little bit about your childhood?
Brief on the childhood. Was a middle-class background. Father owned a construction company. Was doing pretty well. And lived in a pretty affluent neighborhood, but we were definitely like entry level into that neighborhood. Everything was normal. Played sports, did the family vacation trips, real typical middle class background upbringing. However, it did change at a pretty early age. At 7, on Christmas Eve, both my parents came into the room. I'm like jumping on the bed with like my skateboard, you know, typical. And they told me they were getting a divorce. And I don't remember this, but I guess I laughed in their face for some reason. I don't remember, but it's kind of funny. And wasn't funny though. I woke up the next morning, Christmas morning, went downstairs and I saw my mom sitting by the Christmas tree with like kind of like her head in her hands. And I knew that it was real at that point in time. I walked up to comfort her and just stand by her side, you know. And then my little brother had a younger brother who was 3 years younger. And he came running down the stairs and ran up to me and just like grabbed onto me, kind of onto my leg. And realized that things were going to be different from that point moving forward. Became the man of the house at a pretty early age.
Would you say that like is there a memory that like kind of shaped your childhood? Would that be one of them?
Yeah, that was definitely one of them. I still have a lot of good memories from childhood. You know, the family vacations, me and my brother skateboarding, him bombing a hill and hitting a little man sewer hole, and then face planting and sliding on his face, tearing his whole face up. You know, good typical memories. Us shooting each other with the BB guns. You know, so a lot of good memories. Unfortunately, there were some pretty bad ones too. You know, that morning was rough. A few years later, when the LA riots happened, we were visiting an older half brother of mine, and on the way back, the mom had the Cadillac back in the day. You know, Pops is all about the Cadillacs, and Cadillac blew a hose like right in the middle of Watts or something, right where the riots were at. And this was like a couple days after, and which is not a good scenario. You know, I'm like trying to be the big man of the house and I'm like 11 years old, 12 years old. I got this pocket knife. I got my pocket knife ready, you know, and we get out and some dude's like, "What are you guys doing here, man?" And you know, we kind of showed him like the hose and everything. So he just like helped duct tape it up, threw some coolant in there. I was like, "Here, you guys get out of here, man." So there was a lot of other memories that I have where my father was present, but he wasn't in the home. And I realized today that one of the biggest problems we have in this world is the missing factor of a father in the home. You know, I think if we address the fatherhood issue, a lot of our world problems would change. So really seeing the impact of that today, looking back, hindsight, how much of an impact that had on me, because I would always look up to my friends that I was hanging out with, and by 10 years old, I was drinking, smoking, getting high, and starting to do dumb stuff.
Yeah, man, I could totally relate. I grew up, dad wasn't there, stepdad in and out of prison. And, you know, I had that void, and I filled it with homeboys, people who got out of prison, and I started getting this idea of what I thought a man was supposed to be. And today I know that it's all bull,
100%. Yeah, same things, man. Same things.
So you start getting high at drinking and getting high at a pretty young age.
Yeah, 10 years old. I was typical, smoking weed, drinking. I'd been smoking cigarettes for a few years. Um, and so this was on the west side of LA and in the Pacific Palisades, which is a pretty upscale neighborhood. Everybody knows about it from the fires now, but a lot of the kids come from wealthy families. It would be like upper middle class, and then you had like the wealthy people that were there. So all the wealthy kids, they got money. So I was able to, so the drugs progressed pretty quickly. I guess it doesn't matter what kind of socioeconomic background you come from, but got into pretty quickly from smoking, got into like pharmaceuticals, hallucinogenics, all the hallucinogenics, was it shrooms, acid, all that stuff. Even the more hardcore stuff like peyote, blow, so at that point in time, I'm probably like 13, and a lot of my buddies, their older siblings that were like 18, a few of them started overdosing off heroin and dying. And so I stayed away, like that was going down, and then other dudes were smoking dope and were just acting wild. So I was like, I'm just going to stay away from those two things. I'm going to do all this other stuff, but I'm going to just stay away from those two. So it progressed pretty quick, man. By the time I was 13, 14, I had blown through all that and kind of already was falling into a pretty consistent cocaine addiction.
Do you have a memory of the first time drinking or getting high and what that was like?
I do, man.
Yeah.
I craziest thing is I remember the first time I smoked weed, and we're in an abandoned house on the bluffs, kind of like overlooking the ocean, and smoke. It was back in the day, so you had those little metal pipes. I remember those. Remember those?
Yeah,
And,
they twist apart.
Yeah, twist. And it was some chronic. Kids used to get good smoke back then, and I remember smoking and like not really feeling nothing, and everybody else was kind of like looked like they were kind of they were getting high or whatever. So we smoke a few bowls, and we come out this abandoned house, and I'm kind of like I felt normal. I'm like I don't feel nothing. This is weird. So we leave, and then we're like start going down this hill, and some of our friends are acting stupid, acting silly, and I'm like, okay, well I'm just gonna start acting silly too. Again, just wanting to be a part of something that like I didn't really feel like was me, man. If I hadn't have been with those dudes, I wouldn't have been smoking weed. So just trying to be a part of something I wasn't really meant to be a part of, man.
Is there a certain age when you start getting in trouble?
I did pretty good, man. Well, I don't know if you call it good, but didn't get in trouble as a juvenile. I was like a real functioning addict from the start, which I think was the worst part. I played sports, did really good in sports, man. Made like city all-stars for baseball. Played a bunch of different sports. So I didn't get in trouble until I was 26 years old. 26.
26. What'd you get busted for?
Man.
Was this the indictment or another?
No, that didn't happen until I was 36. But I had just come back to California, and I came back, my brother was here in San Diego. I'd started a construction company. We had gotten some work up in LA through my dad. And so we're in LA, we're working on some like custom spec houses in Bel Air, Brentwood, like 10, 20, $30 million homes. And that's when like MySpace was around. And so I had this chick reach out to me on MySpace that I went to high school with, and forgive me, wifey, this chick, she was pretty good looking, and she like turned into she wasn't whatever, man. She used to like model and do all that other kind of crap. And so she hits me up like, oh, hey, what's up? Da, 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 da. And I'm like, okay. So we get together, we go on a few dates, we start dating. And, it's always the ones that are like this kind of look like this that are always that much crazy. you know?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And so I just started dating for a little while, and she was an alcoholic. She had a problem with alcohol, and I was an alcoholic too, but I just didn't consider myself one at the time. And she flipped out one day, was drunk, in the apartment, getting real loud, causing noise, and the cops came. So the cops ended up arresting me. This was uh, 2008, I think, 2008. And around that time in LA, if there was a call, the dude's going. Like, that's just how it was. It got so out of hand that dudes were getting all this time, and it was so lopsided that they had to like change it up. And now it's like if there's a call, both parties go. You know what I mean? The dudes aren't just getting railroaded anymore. Anyway, so so they arrested me, went down. I was in the substation, didn't even see the judge, got a DA reject. They kicked it out. They threw it out. She showed up and was like, hey, nothing happened. That the neighbors called, whatever. And that was the first real red flag. I mean, a red flag should have been how crazy she was, but that was the first real legitimate, like, I need to not be in this relationship. I had never been in a situation like that before, and so I didn't really realize the ramifications that something like that could have. So I go back into the relationship with her, and not even like a month or two later, she, my brother, it was my brother, myself, our close friend. We're up on Sunset because we lived in Hollywood, me and this girl. We're up on Sunset on the Strip at a place, drinking all day, and decided to take it back to our apartment. She's drunk. My brother's there, and I'm on the patio smoking a cigarette, and my phone rings. It's my ex-girlfriend from Texas. So she sees it, starts going crazy. She starts stabbing the phone with some scissors. And my brother starts flipping out because the prior incident, she had destroyed my phone. I left that out. And back in the day, we were with Verizon. If you had to get a new phone, you spent like 3 or 4 hours at Verizon to get a new phone. It was horrible. And so she's like destroying the new phone. My brother she's like, what the hell? I'm the same thing. And so I tell him, like, just leave, bro. I'll meet you. Just leave. I'll get out of here. So he leaves. I end up leaving. She keeps calling me, bro. Like, I end up leaving. I'm running. I get up on Sunset and I see my cousin down Sunset Boulevard. I'm like, yo, yo, yo. So I jump in, tell him to give me a ride back to our pad. He's like, we're going to go to this bar first. I'm like, okay. So she's blowing up my phone, wants to see me. I finally give in. I let her come see me. She wants to apologize. So I go outside to see her, and she pulls up in her Lexus, almost runs me over, pulls out my dog. I had like a 8-week-old pit bull, or maybe a little bit older, in a kennel, and she like throws him at me. So I like catch the dog. I start walking off. She starts following me. I'm like, just leave me. I'm trying to walk away, man. Will you let me just walk away? She's following me. She's like, let me give you a ride back to your place. I had my own other place. I'm like, okay. I get in, and she starts driving back to our place in Hollywood. I'm like, what are you doing? And so I get in the place. I try to lay down, and she just starts going off, calling me all sorts of names. I'm like, I don't need this. So I get up to leave. She starts attacking me. She starts jumping on me like a little crazy monkey. She starts biting me all over. I just resist her. The only thing I did was grab her wrists to keep her from like attacking me. That's it. I was raised by my mom. Like, I have respect for women. All that happens. I end up having to jump off the patio to get away from this chick, off the second story. Jump off the second story, cops show up. So long story short, her mom still supported her financially, and her mom knew me from back in high school. And she was like, he used to sell drugs in high school. I don't like this kid. And so she was like, if you don't testify against him, I'm gonna cut you off. So she gets in court, testifies against me, even though I had I had like 8 hematoma bite marks all over me. And then me not having any experience in the judicial system, I took it all the way to jury selection. And then at that jury selection, I still didn't have any action coming except for, it was still a felony charge and, 52-week anger management, blah, 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 3 years probation. And so I didn't want to take it to trial. I should have taken it to trial. At first I had a public defender. He's like, bro, take this to trial. You'll knock it out. Not a big deal. Didn't really believe it. Brought in a private attorney, had some action going, and then he didn't show up at jury selection. So they saw that, and they took one deal off the table and put the old one back on the table. And I'm like, I'm burnt. So I took that deal. One of the worst mistakes I made in my life, making myself a felon. But I should have taken that to trial, but I didn't know any better. And
We all have that experience though,
Absolutely.
I mean, at least most of us. I feel like, when we first start getting arrested, we don't really know the ropes, and if we hear a deal that is us getting out of jail, where do I sign?
Yep.
And
100%.
because of that, I ended up being a registered narcotics offender, and I had all these felonies, all these extra felonies, that later on in life when I started
Start
actually,
racking up. Yep. Yeah.
So is that the end of the relationship with her?
It was actually. So
I'm surprised.
I couldn't believe, bro. It was like, man, it was crazy. It was in court. They're like, okay, like your deal is, you're pretty much getting. They were like, you're almost getting pretty much time served. They were like, if you take this deal, you could be out in a week or 2 weeks most. And I'm like, so if I take this deal, I literally repeated it back to them. If I take this deal, I'll be out in 2 weeks. And they were like, yes. And I was like, okay, let's go. I signed. I remember the dates. That was April 10th. And then May 10th rolls around and I call my attorney. I'm like, what's up, man? Like, this is more than 2 weeks. He's like, I looked in the computer. Your date is August 3rd. I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm like, how is that possible? I was like, let's pull the minute order, bro. That's not what was said in court, like verbatim. He was like, it doesn't matter. He's like, you're burnt. He was like, it's August 3rd. So I did, because if it's violent, LA County, you're doing 75% of your time, period. And so I did 7 months, 20 days on the county lid, and got out, didn't have a relationship with her. Took care of the 52-week anger management program. I got dropped a few times, but I just went to court that Monday. And that's what you got to do. If you're in a program and you get dropped for absences, just go to court on Monday. The judge will see you and see that you're making an effort to complete whatever's going on, and they'll give you action. They'll give you a readmittance slip. You can go back. I literally got dropped 3 or 4 times from the program.
For the viewers, this is called a loophole.
But it's just nobody does it, bro. People get dropped and they're like, oh, fuck it, man, I'm gonna just go on a run. You know what I mean? But if you show up and you're about your business and you're trying to make an effort to change, the court's gonna give you action, bro. They're gonna work with you.
Absolutely. I feel like for most addicts and alcoholics and people that come from that life, for a lot of us, when we run into a situation like that, our first instinct is to say, screw it,
Yep, absolutely.
and it never benefits us,
Yeah. Yep. I did that quite a few times.
Yeah.
It all changed towards the end. So I did the 52 weeks, got that done. At the end of the 3 years probation, literally was going for like my final court appearance. The judge was cool. I liked the judge. She worked with me on all sorts of stuff. And something came up. They were like, oh, we see you owe like $500 restitution. And I'm like, I don't know where that came from. She was like, yeah. She's like, how long do you think it'll take for you to pay that? And I'm like, I don't know, maybe a couple months. She's like, okay, come back in 3 months. I'm like, okay. And in those 3 months, I made another one of the worst decisions I've ever made. I was hanging out with one of the dudes in my apartment building, and we had gone over to like one of his friends' houses within the neighborhood. And we go over there, and these dudes are all hitting the pookie, man. And so I smoked meth for the first time at 30 years old. And within that time frame, something happened pretty immediately.
What was that like? Sorry to interrupt you, but what was that like? I mean, was there fear before you hit that? Was there were you excited? Like what was going on in your head? Was it like a screw it moment? Like,
I was really my brother and I had butted heads and gone separate ways because we were really close. We were really close, and he was dating some chick that I didn't like. I called it out that I was like, she was a tweaker, and I called it out. I'm like, bro, she's a tweaker, bro. She's no good. He wasn't having it, and she did everything she could to separate us. So me and him were going different ways, and I was just really by myself, man. I really think that I lacked mat carriers. I lacked men that would hold me accountable and be there for me in life. And so being on my own, I was just prey for the enemy, bro, for the devil, man. And I saw it and I just didn't really, I was like, just wanting to fit in, I guess, and hit it, bro. And I was like, man, like I'd been doing cocaine for a long time. And I was like, huh, this is it? Like, I'm like, wow, like I've been missing out. I thought I was missing out. Boy, yeah, I was missing out, all right. Missed out on within 6 months, like maybe within 4 months, I found myself on LAPD's Pacific Division's most wanted list from when I first started smoking. They had pictures of me up in the cop cars and everything.
And how'd that transpire?
Just
Being a knucklehead out there?
running amok in the neighborhood, bro. So I started smoking dope and was working for a company. I was no longer, me and my brother owned the company, so I went a separate way. And they knew what was going on. My dad was working for the company too. They didn't know exactly what was going on, but they knew something was going on. And they knew I had some problem going on, some kind of drug issue. And so they told me one day, like, hey, you need to go to rehab or you don't have a job. And I'm like, bro, never been late to work. I've never missed a day of work. Like, what are you talking about? They're like, yeah, this is it. And I'm like, well, I guess I don't, ego, pride took over. And I was like, well, I guess I don't have a job. And so job went first, apartment went shortly after that. And so then next thing you know, I find myself just in stolen cars. One of them was a taxi cab. I had like spray painted like Ratchet Cab on the hood. And I'm just mobbing around the neighborhood, going to like department stores, peeling all these places full of stuff and just running amok around the neighborhood, doing a bunch of dumb stuff, man.
Would you say that doing crystal just like completely changed you? Is it like lost your morals, self-respect,
My soul too.
your soul? Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. I saw the devil in meth. All sorts of things probably I won't even talk about ever, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And just had me out doing all sorts of crazy things. And played a game one time to see how long we could stay up for. And me and a few other guys, dudes made it to like 2 weeks, 14 days, 16 days. A couple dudes dropped out. We got to like 21 days. A couple other dudes dropped out. I think we got to like 26 days. The last dude dropped out. I was still awake. I was like, all right.
So I remember those times.
Yeah.
After like 12 days, you start to almost like lose count because you're just in this weird fog. I remember that.
Yeah. It was hard to keep count.
Yeah.
And then by the end of by the 26th day, it was like feds were after me. I'm hearing things. I'm seeing all sorts of crazy stuff. It was just retarded, man.
Is there a time when it switched from having fun to just being a problem?
Absolutely. Yeah. It was more than a problem. It was like, it went from being fun to being like an inconvenience, and then it got to a point where it was like really trying to just survive, like making sure that like I'm eating food, making sure that I was always hustling. So like the worst off I would be is I would have a Momo, I'd have a hotel room. I was never like on the street, on a sidewalk. But getting to that point where it was like, there were times that it wasn't so bad where I was selling enough dope and things were good and all that other kind of stuff. But it got down to the point where it was like, I wasn't selling hardly any dope. I was smoking most of it. Didn't have anywhere to go. I'd be in my car and it was like just trying to survive. And there would be times where I could feel it coming, bro, because it'd be this vicious cycle, man. It would take place. I'd, be on the run, whatever, and then get locked up. And then it was just always a cycle. And I could literally feel like my time coming to an end at certain points in time. And it would just be a matter of time before I'm in the back of a cop car and then I'm passing out. As soon as I get in the cop car, I was always passing out.
For sure.
Yeah.
That's how it goes.
That's how it goes.
Yeah, that fight is just gone. And then before you know it, you're exhausted.
Exhausted, bro.
Yeah.
Sleep for 2-3 weeks, just wake up to go get chow, go back and go to sleep.
Sure. I remember that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So I know that we spoke before we started, and you know, we were kind of talking about like moments of clarity or moments where like God is talking to us. And you know, I always say that I never, you know, I always thought it was my inner self, but today I relate it to like, you know, God was working on me. Do you have any like you have moments where you're like looking at yourself and going like, what am I doing? You know?
Absolutely. When I first started getting busted, I was in LA, and so I'd be going into LA County Jail there, and it was a pretty active county jail back then. And so immediately off the rip, I was like, cool, I'm getting high. I was like, I'm not getting high, bro. I see dudes in here, like all sorts of crazy things going on. I was like, I need to be on point. So I started getting into my Bible. I started reading, you know, thanks to my father, my dad, my earthly dad. When I first started getting in trouble, ever since the first time I got in trouble over that female, he got me, I started reading the Bible at first. So I went that time I got arrested for that. When I got in and I ended up getting sentenced, I was in a trustee unit and I went to my rack, and my rack had Rick Warren's Purpose Driven Life on it. Never forget that. And so I looked at it and I flipped through it and I'm like, oh, okay, that's what this is about. And so I talked to my dad and he was like, yeah, you know, just start getting into the New Testament. I'm like, okay. So whenever I'd get busted, I'd start running a program. Like I seen dudes that, you know, get up early, you know, work out, do some burpees, you know, I'd get up early, read my Bible, workout, organize my rack, you know, program time. Um, and so I really started getting into the word when I would do time. I'd get out, smoke dope, and go right back to the enemy. So that was a cycle that started happening. During that cycle, my brother was murdered. I was locked up and get told to contact home, and my brother was killed by one of our employees from the construction company. Dude just pulled up one day, pulled out, and started dumping on him. So fast forward a few years later, after my clean date, I got busted October 5th. My brother's birthday is remember the 5th of November. And it's right around his birthday. Holidays were coming up again. And I'm like, dude, holidays again, bro. Like in this place, I'm like, you know, counting. I'm like, you know, I think I got to like 4 out of 5, 5 out of 6. I was like, I don't want to count anymore, bro. Like that's retarded. And went to a church service at George. It was at George Bailey. It was at Facility 8. So it wasn't George Bailey. It was Facility 8. And it was like
Right next door.
right next door. And A and B were no good. Like A and B, they were integrating, or whatever you want to call it. A and B, they were integrating cells. And luckily I went to Unit C. I was like, cause I'm not doing that. Like I don't, you know, I have to run program. Like where I come from, I just gotta, it's not an option. I just gotta follow protocol. So I went to Unit C, which was a regular unit. And they had a church service. I went to the church service, and there was this dude named Paul. I'll never forget it, man. He was a longshoreman from Seattle. And if anybody knows anything about longshoremen, the dudes have done the most. And he's in there, bro. And this dude had the Holy Spirit in him. This dude was on fire, bro, and was just dropping heat, man. And so I find myself in the church service, and I started breaking down, bro. I just literally started breaking down. And I was like, what's going on here, man? Like, never broke down before in my life. You know, dad left, brother murdered, never broke down in my life. And here I am like breaking down. I'm like, what's going on? So I go back to my cell and I'm like just thinking, man, I'm like, what's going on? And I heard that conscious voice that you were talking about. And it's the Holy Spirit talking to us, man. And it was like a light bulb went off, and it just was like red addiction. And I was like, yep, 100%. My addiction is what lands me here every single time. And so then I remember I was sitting on the toilet, man, and I remember looking up in the right corner and just being like, God, like what's up, man? And I heard him say, deep in my soul, I have something better for you. And I was like, okay. Like, you say you got something better for me? Like, I need that, bro, because this is not working.
Yeah, shoot that.
Shoot that, bro. I'm done. I was like, you just said that? Okay, like, what do I do? I was like, okay. And I heard it and I felt it, man. And I don't know if it was like the next day or a couple of days later, you know, I had the cell to myself. It was a 2-man rack, but I had the cell to myself. I'd been there for a minute. I ended up having the keys there, whatever. And I'm sitting there and they have the windows in the cell, you know what I mean, with the desk right by the window. And so I would sit with my back, I would sit on the desk with my back on the window, and I'd feel like that warmth from the sun. Like I always liked that, man. And I'd be sitting in the morning reading my Bible.
Moments like that make you feel alive.
Bro, I'd be locked up, but I'd be free as a bird, homie. Like you just had my physical body. Like that's it. And I remember I stood up this day and I felt like a presence on my right shoulder, man. And I was like, I was kind of like, whoa, I was kind of spooked at first, but I was like, all right. And I was just like, all right, man, like let's run it, man. And the crazy thing is, like a couple days later, I was getting in my rack. I was laying down, and for some reason, I had feds came across my mind, and I was like, that's weird. I was like, I'm just gonna disregard that thought. And but it was that case, I had like at least 4 felonies on there. It was like felony, it was GTA, felony evading, felony resisting. I took them on a high-speed pursuit in this new Audi freaking from downtown and like 3 PM on a Friday, bro. It was nuts. And so I had like 4 or 5 felonies on this case, and I'm sitting there talking to God over these couple weeks, and I'm like, man, God, like, I'm okay, like I'm ready to move forward in my life. Like, let's give me a program, bro. Like, I'm good. Like, I've done time. I'm overdoing time. I want to move forward in my life. And I'm on the bus going to court. You know, we're on the 94 or something, and we're getting close to downtown. And I'm talking to God. I'm like, man, like, like, are you hearing me, God? Like, like I'm with it, man. Like, let's go. Like, give me a sign. And we pass a church. I'm like, okay, all right. Like, I hear you a little bit, man. I'm like, but I'm hard headed, bro. Like, I need another sign. And we pass a second church, and the second church had a cross on top, but it had a crow on the cross. And before my brother passed, his homie had overdosed on heroin, and my brother said he would always feel him and see him in the crows that were always turning up by him. When my brother died, he's survived by his daughter, Sienna, and she found a crow's feather on her car after he passed. And I always see crows like around my mom's house, and there's just something with it. And so when I saw that crow on there, I was like, man, I'm like, okay, man, like, let's run it, bro. Like, I'm with it. Let's go. And so we go into court, and no, I got nothing. You don't have nothing coming, bro, with that kind of case. Like you're looking at a low, medium, and high term, upstate period. And the judge is like, he's all acting weird. He's like, you know, he's in some kind of a mood. He's like, for some reason, I feel like I want to offer this gentleman a program. He's like, I don't know. He's like, but how would you feel about taking a program? And I'm like, absolutely, 100%. I was like, you will not see me again. He was like, okay. He's like, all right, I'm gonna give you this chance, man. He's like, I was like, okay. So I got a program, man, and went to the program. I'd been in numerous programs before through my cycle. Like it was like 6 years where I was just in and out, in and out, in and out. And I'd been to like almost half a dozen programs, and I'm always paying attention to what's going on. And the dudes that were successful in the programs, that were the guys that completely submerged themselves in the program. Dudes that were taking commitments, dudes that were volunteering to help out. Those were the guys that were successful. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna just go to this program. I'm gonna volunteer for everything. I'm gonna help out, and I'm gonna just submerge myself in the program. And that's what I did, man. Did really well, and yeah.
So this is the start?
This is the start.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, man. As you're telling these stories too, like I'm like reminiscing, you know, I'm like going through some of the situations and stuff, you know, and man, those bus rides, you know, like the last 3 times that I had gotten locked up, every time I was on the bus, there was this one song that would play. I kid you not. And like this song just would play in my head, dude.
What song?
I don't know what the song is, but it goes, the wheels in the sky keeps on turning, and I don't know where I'll be tomorrow. And I was just like, man, like it just hit me so hard. Like, man, I'm here again. You know what I mean? Like
Yep.
what's happening? You know, like there's got to be more to life than this, you know? Like, once again, I'm locked up. I'm shackled on this bus. Don't know how much time I'm going to get, you know?
Yeah.
And like, just that feeling, you know, of just like hopeless, you know, but wanting to do better so bad, knowing that there was more to life than how I was living, but I just could not see a way out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And it's funny, yeah, the bus rides, man. LA County they'd always be jamming music too.
Yeah.
And numerous bus rides, like it was funny, it was not funny, but it was sometimes nice, the relief that I would get leaving court. You know, even though sometimes things wouldn't be done yet, I'd still have to go back. But I remember just like some of the times going back to the facility, man, and then getting to my rack, bro, and just being like happy to like get onto a steel rack with a piece of foam, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of the days, like, from LA were long court days, bro, like
Oh, absolutely.
yeah, we'd be at
All day.
Wayside Supermax, bro, you'd be up at, like, 2:00, you know, they'd get you to start getting in line, to start getting ready.
You hit that first cell at 3:50 in the morning, and then you're not back till 7:00, at 8:00 at night.
Bro, we wouldn't get back till, like, 11 at night.
Oh man, it was brutal.
Brutal,
You can't
bro.
even use the phone or nothing.
Can't
You
use
just
the
add
phone,
just straight to your
nothing.
cell.
Yeah, if you're going and then, like, if you're going to trial, bro, and, like, you doing that back to back to back to back,
Brutal.
bro, it was like breaking somebody down,
Yeah.
man.
Yep. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yep.
So at this point, you hit your program, and this is when you start kind of grinding.
Yep. Yep.
And is this before the indictment?
Before, man.
Okay.
Thought I'm free and clear, man. And so I
What do
lived
you
off,
got right there, bro?
huh?
You got your own little labeled so Unchained. So he's a fitness influencer who just cannot stop chewing tobacco.
Nicotine is good. They say good things about nicotine. You know, it's just all that little additive stuff.
Hey, I'm doing the same thing right now.
Yeah. So, but this is it. You know, I will like, so I'll touch, like I have my clean day, man. And, you know, getting clean, it was like just for today, bro. It's like just today. Like I would even have to push it for meal times. You know what I mean? Just stay till lunch, just stay till dinner, you know, and where I'm at, like, cause never really know, like, I didn't really know where I'd be at in my sobriety. Like, would I ever be able to have a drink again? Would I ever be able to have a beer again? You know what I mean? And so like, over the last like year or two, like I would have a glass of wine at dinner, or I would have a beer on a hot day. Very like maybe like every few months, or maybe once or twice a year. And recently, over the recent past, like I found myself like, why am I doing that? You know, that's a slippery slope. You know, is it causing any kind of problems? No. And then my wife said something the other day that hit me pretty hard. You know, I was like, cause I was like, oh, I kind of feel like maybe I'll have a glass of wine with this nice steak dinner I got. And we were talking about it, and she was like, yeah, she was like, well, you know, it does. She brought up basically the fact that it like, she gets worried or concerned if I drink, because I'm a very, like, I believe men are protectors, you know what I mean? Like, I'm on point all the time, like, go around and find out.
Yeah.
And so, but to hear from my wife that it made her uncomfortable, I was like, bro, that's got to go, homie. You know what I mean? Because I always got to stay on point regardless. And so anything that can take me off my game, even if it's just a beer or just a glass of wine, is probably not the right move to make. Because there's always people have that wonder, that question, like, hey, will I ever be able to have a drink again and be like a normal person? You might be able to, but also you got to consider these other factors too. You know what I mean? And so my experience today through that has just pretty much led me to where it's like, nah, I don't need to be doing that, man.
Yeah.
Yep.
For sure. I think a lot of it too, I mean, for myself at least, it was, I wanted to be normal,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
I wanted to be able to have that glass of wine or that beer, and just live what I thought was like a normal man life,
Mhm.
But from my experience too, I know that if I do not drink or if I do not smoke or do any drugs, that my level of potential is way higher. And I would much rather be there,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So I don't play with any of it,
Yeah. No, All good. Respected, man. Yeah. Same thing, man. Understanding my potential, I just kicked myself in the butt that like, I have no regrets. I know that everything was God's plan for me to happen when it did. So, but it's like, man, if this had happened earlier, bro, where would I be at now? You know what I mean?
But you know what though? At the same time, everything that we went through was necessary.
100%.
I had to suffer. I
100%.
had to go through what I had to go through.
Oh, yeah.
You know, you wouldn't earlier you talked about the fact that you didn't have like a male role model or that disciplinary person in your life. And now today you're that person.
Right.
You know what I mean? Now you program, you help people, you put people in shape. We'll get into that in a minute of what all you got going on. But now today, I'm able to, you know, help people struggling how I used to struggle, you know,
Yep.
when I thought there was no hope.
Absolutely. Yeah. It was all for the purpose, man. Like I wouldn't change any of it, you know, even if I could, I wouldn't change it. You know, there's always that thought though. I'm like, man, like
For sure, we're human.
you know, yeah.
Yeah.
So, but no, I'm grateful for it all, man. Every single day of it.
All right. Well, let's touch real quick on so after that program, something else happens in your life.
Yeah. And so it was, you know, in my opinion, everything comes down. If you really want to get down to the base of everything, the bottom line, bro, the real bottom line, it's good versus evil, bro. At the end of the day, everything. And I knew that. I've said this numerous times, you know, for the viewers that have heard it, I apologize, but I've been playing for one team for a long time, putting in work, you know what I mean? And bringing a lot of people down with me. And I changed that. And now I'm playing for the right team. And I think, I don't think, I know that's why I'd been attacked and ever since I was a young child, because the enemy knew the potential that I had. And I say that humbly and not any way to kind of take clout. But I fly my flag high no matter whoever I was riding for. And so like I'm riding for the good guys now, and the enemy knows that. And so, the enemy knew that like I was done. And so I was almost done with the program. I was fast tracking the program, going to be a house manager, you know, all the good stuff about in a program. And it was like it was like a Wednesday, bro. And they're like, oh, the lady from the office is like, you got a visitor. And I'm like, cool, I got a visitor. Nice, you know? And I'm like, wait a minute, it's a Wednesday, bro. I look out the window and it's black. It ain't Saturday. Yeah. What are they doing here? Got me for a minute. And then black vehicles, bro. And I'm like, ugh. And I'm kind of like on point for a second, like, and I see some dude come walking in with a badge, U.S. He's like, you Anthony AUTRY? Yeah, I'm a U.S. Marshal. I got a federal warrant for you. I was like, man. And so it snatched me up right there. And yep, called my attorney. I was like, can I call my attorney? He's like, yep. Call my attorney. He's like, I'm like, what's up, man? He's like, I don't know. He's like, I don't know what's going on, but it's not good. I was like, damn. And so they hit me on a single man indictment for a controlled buy for 2 ounces of dope. Some chicks that turned out to be an undercover or whatever bought 2 ounces of meth off me. That was just over their mandatory minimum. And I believe that was all they could get me for. And so like I was done. Like you know, the feds are on it, bro. And like I was just done. Like I broke ties with people. I wasn't messing around anymore. I quit selling dope. I was just done. And so I think they knew that I was done and were like, we got to get this dude for something, man. And hit me on that.
So and this is where you ran into Beaver Duck?
So they ended up getting me. I had no action. I had to sign right away. Luckily by signing right away, they didn't impose the mandatory minimums because it does carry a 10-year mandatory minimum. I don't qualify for nothing. I don't even qualify for a safety valve, which is like, you know, low key snitching, you know what I mean? I was like category 6, career criminal, all that stuff. So I got
the stuff.
Yeah, I got nothing coming. That's why they were like, just sign right away. And
No action.
no action. Yeah. Jan Ronis, who's a friend of the family, like I mentioned earlier, he's like, defended the Ariano brothers, top cartel people. He was like, you got nothing coming. I'm like, bro, like, you kidding me? Like, you defend these dudes and you can't do nothing for me? He's like, no, dude. He's like, you're burnt. And he's like, just sign. They won't impose the mandatory minimums. I was like, okay, cool. So I got 77 months for that. And during the time after I signed, you're waiting for sentencing. And while I was waiting for sentencing, Orange County Jail has a contract with the feds. So I went to Orange County Jail and go into this unit, and my bunkie was this smoked out, skinny, scraggly looking white dude, man. And just like, okay, whatever. So I'm in there. I just got there, so my money's waiting to transfer. I don't have nothing. And so my bunkie, he gives me some coffee. He's a pretty good dude. We started talking, and just is a pretty good kid. He's a pretty sharp kid. He's got different stories on how I was at the unit and how things took place. I think things happened a little bit differently. He says I came in there and just kind of took over and I got the keys to the place. I don't think it went down like that. I'm a pretty, whoever's running the unit, like I go in there and like, I'm like, okay, like this dude's running the pad. Like I talk to this dude, figure out like, what's the program?
Right.
What's going on? You know what I mean? And so the dude that happened to run the pad, he was from SGV. He was from San Gabriel Valley. And so we're both from LA, technically in Orange County, and he had the pad. And it was some real crazy stuff, man. There was like just some real dope fiend stuff. Some of the local dudes wanted his Suboxone that he had. So they ended up line shotting this dude when we're walking to chow, shot a couple torpedoes on him. They line shot him. So they take him out of the unit. So as soon as we come back from chow, these dudes beeline it to his rack, go peel his dope,
Right.
whatever. But these dudes are all strung out. So they're not trying to run a unit. They're like, hey, dude, look, you run the pad. We're just going to kick it over here and get high. I'm like, okay, whatever. So I didn't really view it as me just like Beaver Duck tells a different story. He says I came in and just took shit over and was like, so we'll let that be up to whatever. And so I'm running the pad. He likes to tell this other story I forgot about too, man. There was this old dude and like just wouldn't listen, bro. He's causing problems with his neighbor, and his neighbor's another race. And so I'm like, look, bro, you got to stop doing this, man. Like, please. So I'm not trying to, it was pretty active there. Like we would take dudes to the wall all the time. Like, and the deputies were cool with it. They were like, because we kept things organized.
They know what's up.
They know what's up. That's less paperwork for them.
For sure.
They
We're
support.
trying to keep everyone in line.
100%.
Yeah.
And so I would try to build dudes up versus just breaking them down. Like if a dude messes up, like, okay, you're getting a workout break off, do some burpees. Don't make them do features until they can't stand anymore.
Next one.
Next one.
Then we'll put hands on you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so I'm running dudes to the wall. And this old dude, I'm like not trying to put hands on this dude or have hands put on him. And so, but it got to the point, bro, where I totally forgot about this, and Beaver Duck reminded me of it the other day. And so I had to, you got these Bob Barker slides on, these like orange hard plastic slides. And so I literally had to I would take my Bob Barker sandal and threaten this dude with it, and he'd get all scared. And then one day he just wasn't having it. So homie runs into the day room, and I got to track him down in this big day room. It's like 200 dudes in there. So in the middle of the day room, I got to smack this dude. I start beating this. I just smack him a little bit with the Bob Barker sandal. And, so, so shout out to Beaver Duck. He's a good kid though, man. Like I saw the kid had potential and was like, I was already sober. I'd been sober for a while, ever since I got on that path. So I was about 2 years into my sobriety, and I gave him that Living Clean book. And I was like, here, bro, read this, man. Because I knew the kid had potential, and he would read it, and I'd give him certain tasks to do, like to go around and collect for the kitty and all sorts of stuff, like keep him kind of active so he just wasn't on his rack, whatever. And so she was a good kid. I ended up leaving. I ended up getting sent off to the feds. And then he ended up tracking me down recently on social media when I first got on social media a couple years ago, and was like, bro, I found you, man. He's like, I thought you were going to be gone forever. And he was like, dude, he's like, I want to tell you, man, like you're the first dude that I saw sobriety on that was attractive. And he's like, because I got him to start reading his Bible and stuff. And he's like, I strayed away. I relapsed a couple times. He's like, but you know what? I got sober. He's like, I've been sober. I got like 4 years clean now. I'm part owner of a tattoo shop. He's like, I got my dad sober. And he's like, I just want to say thank you, man. And I was like, wow. It's powerful, bro.
Shout out to Beaver Doug. Yeah, no.
Beaver Doug, dude.
Yeah, no.
And
I mean, he just did an interview with us too.
yeah, so he hit me up. He was, I'm coming down to San Diego, bro. What's up? Because I got him on my program. So like we started talking. I'm like, bro, get on the program, bro. Let's get you jacked, homie. And so we got him on and he put in some work. He got a little size on him and then he fell off, bro. And so like Beaver Doug, get your ass back on the program, homie. And so he told me he was coming down here and that's how we met. So he was like, yeah, I'm gonna go do this podcast and then I'm gonna go speak at this spot. He's like, if you want to come check it out. I was like, yeah, man, I support you, bro, 100%. So I went and backed him up and then we met and that's how we got here.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay, so you go away. Is this when you start getting in real shape?
Absolutely. Yeah, I was always programming. And so I knew, I was like, man, I know how to do time. I was like, I'm just not going to waste this time. You know, I got about 5 years to do. So I'm just going to focus and just crush myself, dude, just maximize the time. So I just got in there and started tracking my macros longhand, which was crazy. Got like all the math equations, got the stuff from the kitchen, all the calorie breakdown for all the garbage they serve at the kitchen food, which the fed food is a little bit better than like state and county food, but still it's not that great. Anyways, through my commissary food and then tracking the stuff from the kitchen, I was able to get under 10% body fat. Saw my abs for the first time. I got a college degree through correspondence, was doing that, was just really focusing on myself, just really getting myself in the position to where when I got out, I could hit the ground running.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Well, let's talk about that change now. Let's yeah.
Yeah, man. So I just really prepped myself a lot. Got released to the halfway house. And just started
I hear the one down the street.
Yep, on Ocean View.
Yeah, Ocean View.
Yeah, the Core Civic.
Yeah.
Got there, bro, and turned out, man. That place is turned out.
I know.
Got there, bro. Some dude like OD'd in the bathroom like a week before I got there.
That place is active.
Active, bro. I go in there, fools are just smoking Tucci in the bathroom, but I didn't want to be there, of course, and my case manager laid it out. I'm like, how do I get house arrest? You know, she was like, you got to do this, 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 and this. I'm like, okay. So I just started doing this, 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 and this. And I started knocking out the steps. And I ended up getting house arrest quick, man. I got house arrest in like 3 weeks, bro. 3 or 4 weeks.
That's right.
Yeah. So got house arrest, home confinement, had the ankle monitor on, and I was just starting to demonstrate who I was, you know, because you're not going to get anything coming until you start demonstrating who you are. And so my case manager was pretty supportive of what I was doing. So she gave me a little bit of lee room. Like when I was on home confinement, I had a job at the Ironworkers Union. She would let me get up early and go to the gym before work. So I'd get up at like 2:30, go to the gym, hit the gym, then go be on the yard at like by 6:37, wrench on iron all day long. And I wanted to get into jujitsu. A friend of my older half brother was friends with a guy who helped fund Victory MMA here in San Diego. And so when I got out, I was able to get a pass and they took me over to Victory and kind of told them my story, you know, how I'm on a different path and I'm trying to do better. So they welcomed me with open arms. They're like, here, bro, here's a membership. You ain't got to pay for it. Come here and train. I was like, bet. And so I would work all day and then I would go to jujitsu in the afternoon and go home, eat some food and freaking rack out. I'd read and I would pray to God to meet my wife. I was like, I'm ready, Father. Like, let's go, man. Like, I'm getting old, you know, I was like 40 at the time, 41. And just in that repetitiveness, just doing the same thing over and over again in that grind mode for about 8 months. And I started getting on some Christian dating apps. And the chicks were just not very Christian-like, bro. They were like straight weirdos and like, just wasn't working, bro. Like, cause my faith is number one to me, like straight up. And so I was like, God, this isn't gonna work, man. I'm like, God, you're not on my timeline, bro. I'm like, I gotta meet a girl at church or something. This is gonna take a minute because I'm not going out to bars. I'm not going out like that. And so I tried one other dating app and it was Hinge, like a regular dating app. And I'm like, bro, I met one guy at the gym because was really caught
On Hinge?
yeah. Nah. I was like not trying to mess with nobody. I had no friends, you know what I mean? I didn't need any friends, bro. Like I'm getting my foundation settled. And so I was at Victory in the locker room and some dude was like, "Hey, I seen you over at this spot." And I'm like, so I start like pushing into this dude, like, "Who are you, bro?" Like, who? And so he turns out to be all right. He's like some middle 30s, like multiple business owner, owns like 3 businesses. I'm like, okay, I could talk to this guy. He's not some POS. And so I started talking to him. He's the first guy that I developed a friendship with. And he was the one that was like, "Get on Hinge, bro. Like, just do it." And I'm like, all right, whatever. So I get on there and I blast it like, sober. But my faith is number one. I was like, I'm sober. I'm looking for my wife. Don't hit me for a hookup. Like, I don't, none of that. And I come across a profile page, some chick, and she's like standing in a cave. And I'm like, ooh, she looks kind of good. So I like stop for a minute. And then I was like, okay, well, either what are you doing, man? And I got stuck on it for a minute. And I'm like, this is weird. I'm like, okay. I'm like, all right, well, I'm gonna swipe the right way. So I swiped the good way, whatever way that was, and started talking to this chick. And she's like her faith was number one. Like she came from like a religious family. We're talking a little bit. So I'm finding out she's like a real good girl, bro. She's like never done anything wrong.
Normal comparison.
Yeah. So I'm like, okay. We started talking for a couple of weeks and we meet to go on a date. And she's like real serious, bro. And I'm like, man, like, I can't do real serious. Like, I'm a pretty easygoing guy. But she's asking questions, all that kind of stuff. And everything lined up. Like, her faith was number one. Her view, like, her health is important. She trains, she works out. She used to be a personal trainer. Now she's a nurse. I'm like, okay, like, our political views lined up, like, our views on how we want to raise children lined up. Everything lined up. So, qualified for a second date, even though she's too serious for me. Couple dates later, she kind of drops her guard a little bit and she's nice. She's friendly. She has a good personality. I'm like, man, we dated for 6 weeks and I was like, man, she's got it, bro. And so I proposed after 6 weeks, man. And she said, yes, dude. And, was just amazing, bro. With I told her about my background on our second date and she wasn't shook at all. She was like supportive and I'm like, okay. She's like, you are who you are today. You're not your past. And I'm like, okay. And so that was super influential with me proposing also at 6 weeks. Her family, again, she's like Romanian, comes from a very like legalistic type family, bro. Her family is like Pharisees, bro. Like they're like,
Bro, you'll trip out how close our story. Sorry to interrupt.
No,
But
you're
how
good.
close our stories are together.
yeah.
Yeah.
So she comes up with, because we're decided to elope because having a ceremony, just wasn't really fit in the picture. And so she comes up with this great idea for us to go skydiving and get married. And I'm like on my phone, I'm like, yeah, sure, babe. She's like, yeah, no, for real. Like, let's do it. Like we can say our vows in the plane or on the ground. And I'm like, you're serious? She's like, yeah, absolutely. I'm like, let's go. I'm like, I'm not about to rank out to some chick, bro. So I guess we're going skydiving. So we went and jumped here in San Diego. It was badass, bro. Jumped. Had some boots on when I landed, peeled my shirt off, threw a hat on, had a resistol on, bro. It was pretty sick, man. So yeah, I got married.
Now she's pregnant.
Now she's pregnant. Like at that time, we met and that guy that I had met, who was like my only friend, was like, hey, bro, because he knew how I was about. Like, I'm very structured. I'm very routine based. I'm very discipline based. Like, that's just what it is. But he knew I wanted to give back. Like I had talked to him and told him like, man, if I could get to the kids, if I could reach at-risk kids, that's what it's all about, bro. And so he was like, dude, there's guys online that are helping coach other men and dudes are making a pretty good living off of it. So I got online. I'd never been on IG before. I was like, okay. I got on, checked it out, and I was like, okay, this is just basically what I do, bro. Like, it's just the program that I run. So I can basically just help guys run a program and it's a win-win. So I started sending it, bro. I just started doing it. Didn't know what I was doing. I'd never been on there. So I wasn't like trying to be like anybody else. I was just doing me, man, just being my authentic self. And it started taking off, bro. Started taking off, doing really well. Got a bunch of guys on the team. I'm helping dudes change their life, helping dudes break addiction issues, helping dudes get off psych meds, helping dudes get off blood pressure meds, all sorts of stuff, man. Just turning dudes into savages, and their whole life's changed, man. They end up being the leader of their family that they deserve, you know, their spouses then become supportive of what they're doing. They start falling into line. Kids start doing better, you know, just changing lives, man. And it's grown. I mean, I had all sorts of people reaching out to me, bro. Like people like that I used to watch on YouTube that are like, because I like guns, I like all that kind of stuff. Like, so a lot of military guys I follow. And so I started having some big name dudes reach out to me in that space where like, hey, I see what you're doing, man. I respect it, bro. Like, what do you need? Can I help you? I'm like, bro, that's crazy. So I've been across the country, man, on like some dudes that are Navy SEALs. I've been on their podcasts, like all sorts of stuff, man. Like a dude that's a friend of mine, he's pretty big in some of the spaces, and he deputy reached out to him how he was having guys come and speak at the facility, and he's like, hey, talk to my boy Anthony, man. So guy reached out to me recently. I just went to Utah and spoke at a facility, a bunch of inmates there. So I'm big in that space, man. It's a trip. It's a real trip because a lot of the guys that are on my program today that I help coach and just help them to be the best versions that they can be, like 95% of them are either first responders or they're veterans. A lot of the first responders are guys that are prior law enforcement or current active law enforcement, which is a trip. I had a couple of guys that were LA County sheriffs on the program, and I'm like, dude, these are guys that I used to be in their custody, and here they are paying me for my services, and I'm helping them be the best versions they can. Like, I don't have that line where I'm like, oh, you're a cop, bro. Like, I'm not messing with you. Like, I just live a different life today, bro. And I can't be everywhere, you know, and right now my wife is off by herself. And so if something goes on, these dudes are going to be the ones to look out for my wife. So I support that, bro. You know what I mean? And so I got no qualms. A lot of my friends, close friends today are guys that are served or whatever. And it's just a real trip, man. But it's cool. I'm happy to help dudes that are putting in work for our country. You know what I mean? I don't live a life of crime anymore. And I support that kind of stuff, man. So
Amen, dude.
yeah.
So it sounds like you found your purpose.
100% found my purpose. And I just kind of stumbled into it too. Like I didn't really realize it until it all started getting going. And like, I'm helping dudes change their lives. And I'm like, God, you're freaking good, bro. Like you're freaking good. God's hilarious. If you don't think God has a sense of humor, you don't have ears. Like Jesus used to say, those who have ears, let them hear. And,
Yeah.
mhm.
That's powerful, man. I remember when I first started doing Bible study, like I thought I believed in God, but I always say there's a difference from believing in God and walking with God, and I go to this Bible study that my foreman, who's got a past like me, he says, hey, show up to this Bible study. And so I'm thinking it was going to be a small setting. There's like 200 people at this church. I roll up in there and I'm already uncomfortable. I don't like large crowds around me. And we're in a table in the middle of all these other tables. And I'm sitting there and I'm already super uncomfortable, And I noticed the guy sitting next to me, he has a ring on and there's a badge on his ring. So then I text my buddy, I'm like, am I sitting next to a cop right now? And he starts laughing. He's like, yeah. And so it was weird that first time, that first setting, and me and that dude ended up building a relationship. And that dude, if I ever didn't show up, he'd hit me up. How are you? Where are you at? You're the one person I look forward to see, And like we built this relationship, and for so long, it's like we didn't feel human, or at least for myself. I always felt like people had this upper hand on me, and I started building relationships with business owners, with cops, or with whoever, and like, it was just such a powerful moment to just, to build that and to just let these walls down and like realize that for me, like with what I do with these interviews, with the sober livings, like I will help anybody who wants to get help. The only people I have an issue with is 290s, sex offenders. They can get help somewhere else. I'm not, but other than that, I don't care about any of it. I don't care about any of that old crap that I used to hold on to. If we did, all it would do is keep us down here. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
it sounds like that you're on a solid path, bro, and I'm glad to get you on here.
Thanks, man. Yeah, it's been yeah, I'm the same way. I don't have space for that group of people. You know, I can't, I don't support it. And I think that group of people needs to be handled a certain kind of way, you know. As it says, it's better to have a millstone tied around your neck than to cause one of these little ones harm,
Yeah.
you know. Yep.
So now today, this is what you do full time. You don't work construction.
Yeah, this is what I do full time, man. I had started working for family as I was starting this business. My family owns a couple restaurants, and you know, I just started seeing my potential, man. I like got into the restaurants. I started managing. I got into operations. I helped them open a ghost location, and just noticing I had a lot of potential. Working with family is hard, and so this other opportunity, my purpose presented itself, and it started going, and I took a risk, man. There's no risk, no reward, bro. And I took a risk, and I quit working for family, which was a decent amount of money, you know, to where I was okay. I had nothing to worry about, and I invested in myself. And that's the biggest challenge is for somebody to invest in themselves and to go all in, because it's not guaranteed. And so, but I took that risk. I took on that challenge and went all in, bro. About a year, less than a year into it, we had gotten married. Her job that she was working at was just not a very healthy environment. It was very toxic. And so I was like, look, babe, just put in your 2 weeks. Like God's got our back. He'll take care of us. So I had her put in her 2 weeks, and I've been the sole provider for us for now, like about a year and a half. Um, I've been able to start a couple other businesses. One of them deals with peppers, you know, deal with peps, and just optimizing men's health, you know, make sure men are guys that come to me. It's like, okay, let's get your blood work done, bro. See where you're at. You know, what kind of supplements do you need to be on to make sure you're optimized, and go down through the whole line, nutrition, et cetera. So I'm getting into a few different spaces these days with that. I've got a merch store going on. Um, Few things, man. One of the guys that's on the team now, he's SDPD, and we were in the gym working out, and I was just telling him a little bit. I was like, yeah, you know, I really like to reach the kids. And he's like, yo, I used to work juvenile, bro. He's like, I'll go talk to my Sarge and see if we can't get you to the juvenile hall. So just another example of like, we're all men at the end of the day, you know, and that was a pretty righteous move. I'm like, man, that's awesome, dude. So we got, I talked to his Sarge. They should be contacting me to where I'll go talk at the juvenile hall pretty soon. So it's morphing into all these different things. I started a branding company recently to where now I'm helping men do what I do now for them to build their own business, to have their own platform, to start coaching other men. Doing that in numerous different fields, man. I got guys that are law enforcement that are doing it, that can reach their space. I got a guy that's prior military who's now coaching. He's going to start helping reach other Marines, you know, to help get those guys. Cause, you know, there's a lot of, you know, suicide rates are at an all-time high for all these guys.
People need help.
Yeah, whether first responders across the board and veterans. And so these dudes need help, man. And so the fact that I'm helping these guys build a business where they can get away from their career, which nothing's guaranteed, bro. If you work for somebody, they can fire you, bro, at any point in time. Like, don't think you got job security. Just because you've been there for 20 years doesn't mean shit. Something could happen. There could be a new COVID epidemic or whatever they want to call it, and they could can your ass, bro. And then what are you going to do? So I like highly encourage dudes to invest. There's never been a better time to monetize everything, bro. So like, guys, start working for yourself, bro. Don't work for somebody else, you know? And so helping guys create this branding program that I started, bro. I just started a couple months ago. It's off to a great start. Got a bunch of dudes on the team, helping dudes be their own business owner, entrepreneur.
And how can people find you?
You can find me on Instagram. Instagram's where I'm at. I've been zucked. I've been restricted in all categories, but my page is still open. It's unchained_fit. And you can reach me there. I got a backup page you can find through that too. So that's where I do everything at. Most people reach me through there. Yeah.
Is there a message that you have for someone who might still be struggling?
Absolutely. You know, I've said it before. I'll say it again. You got to start, man. You got to start. The biggest thing is to actually take action. Like stop that bullshit, man. Stop telling yourself, I got to research it more. I got to study it more. I got to take care of the kids. And, once soccer season's over and once wifey does this, then I'll do that. Stop with all that bullshit. All your excuses are lies. Stop lying to yourself. Take action, bro. Start today. Don't start tomorrow. Start today. What are the tangible choices you can make? You can eat some good food. Like stop eating bullshit food, bro. Take your ass to the gym, man. And do that in the morning on your time. Don't take nobody else's time. Take your own time. Don't take your family's time. Don't take your kids' time. Get your bitch ass up early in the morning and go to the gym. So when the day's over, you can be there for your kids. You can go to the soccer game. You can go to the after school event. You can be there for the play, all that shit. But you got to take action, bro. Take action.
I could say that my mom and dad, they never paid attention to me in the way that I felt I would deserve, so I declared war against the world.
Everything's shining. I can't say this is going to happen for everybody that's clean.
Things that I didn't want to do, I had to do.
I can't believe we're here right now doing this. This is a big thing, man.
And so that's my biggest motivation right now, is just like seeing what I can do, like while being sober.
Or if I got to do whatever I got to do, like my life's got to change like right now,